Hello, my beautiful stars. Welcome to Path of Spirals Tarot YouTube channel. My name is Claire, and as of today, February 1st, 2026, this is the first of many videos, weekly videos that will be uploaded to this channel to give you astrological forecasts, individual channeled messages, and maybe a little something extra. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. I have been pulling cards for as long as I can remember, and I've also been a life coach. I am Reiki certified. I am the village crazy lady, and I love to pull cards. It got to a point where I feel like there were not enough people for me to pull cards for that I had to take it to another container, so hence why Path of Spirals was born. The beginning of all of my videos will start with a little bit of an astrological forecast for the month, the week, and the day in particular. And then we're going to be doing intuitive 3-card pulls Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless I feel otherwise. But typically we'll have 3 messages. You'll choose based on a glyph or a crystal or whatever I have on top of my decks to choose which message is right for you. You can also choose it if you feel like you'd like to do cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. That's up to you. But in general, I find it best to just say which deck is really pulling to me or which glyph is really catching my eye. Now today, before we get into our astrological forecast and start doing our reading or readings, I want to just introduce you which decks I'm working with today. So the meat and potatoes is the Fountain Tarot, a beautiful deck. It's based roughly pretty much on RWS, a little bit more of a abstract artistic feel to the cards, but still very RWS centric. And then some supplemental cards we will be pulling throughout. These beautiful diamond circles comes from the coveted Kim Kron's from her Archetypes deck today. These are by no means not all the decks I have. I have plenty, but I thought we'd start here today. Oh, and then of course I have, these cards are going to just be about talking about the astrological forecast today, which comes from a woman named Claire Goodchild, not me Claire, a different Claire, who wrote it's called the Arcana of Astrology, Oracle Deck and Guidebook for Cosmic Insight, which I thought was just perfect for introducing different larger cosmological themes from month to month. So, February is going to have a much different flavor than January. January was an interesting time for many of us, but it had a very overall, regardless of your sign, it had a very positive and glimmering type of energy to it. And now this month starts off strong with a Leo in the full moon on the 1st of February today. And then we'll start the descent into a new moon cycle later on in the month. We have as well some very interesting astrological conjuncts. We have a solar eclipse this month, which is only one of 2, count them 2, solar eclipses for the whole year of 2026. And if you're into Chinese astrology or Eastern astrology, the fiery horse is coming upon us as well. We'll be looking at a Mercury going retrograde towards the end of the month as well. And we're also entering Pisces season, where everything gets a little bit more internal, subtle, and dreamlike. But today, the lunacy vibes are at an all-time high. You know what? I can't sleep. I can't sleep my normal sleep schedule when it is a full moon. I'm taking a little extra magnesium. I might be up a couple extra times throughout the night. And yeah, there is just something afoot. And when you blend that with the Leo energy, right? When you have that Leo vibe, think about what Leo means. Little tidbit here. I am a Leo ascendant, okay? So that's actually what I'm showing the world most of the time. And I love a truthful moment. I love to stand in my pride. And I have 2 sons that are both Leos. So a Leo in the full moon feels very much up my alley. You'll have to tell me in the comments if you feel that is right up yours as well. So imagine that sort of extroverted, fiery energy coming into the penultimate culmination of a full moon. And I don't know, Bob's your uncle, I guess. Today, we have 3 different groups, okay? Now, I like to tell you something. Here, we don't use AI slop, okay? You see these glyphs? I made them myself. I love making art. I watercolor them myself with masking fluid. I might not have watercolored glyphs for every single video, but we're using. Now, I can't promise watercolored glyphs for every single video, but there will always be a little something to help you choose which one is right for you. Without further ado, we call in, I don't know what you call your source. Do you call him God? Do you call her? a deity, source, Gus, Allah. I want you to know that on this channel, whatever background you come from culturally does not matter to me. That source energy can be manifested in different forms. It can take on different significances for different people, and it can have a different name. So whatever you want to call it, you are welcome here. Culturally, spiritually, I want you to feel like the message can transcend wherever background you come from and also be inclusive to it. So I like to say God, I like to say source, I like all the names for God. But so today I'm going to just call in all of God's mercy, all of our highest timelines, our angels, archangels, and all, I really like to as well put a crystalline dome over my readings. Every time I start a reading, I ask for a crystalline dome of protection. We call in what serves, we cast out what doesn't serve, and we get started. So today, were you feeling group 1? Saturn. Although we have watercolored this, if you can tell, with some metallic watercolor, Saturn is a little bit of a, dare I say, ass kicker. The disciplinary planet, getting things done planet. Or do you want to take a trip to the Gran Canary Islands with a beautiful little palm tree, or Hawaii, or wherever there's a palm tree, I don't know, Florida? Or are you hungry for a little piece of pizza? You choose, it's up to you. We'll pull these diamond archetype cards alongside our reading. So without further ado, let's start with group 1. Our Saturn group. All right, my Saturn group, let's see what our challenge or our obstacle is in our 3-card reading for you today. Oh, I read reversals too, by the way, but we use discernment with reversals. I've read plenty on reversals. The second card is going to be the medicine, the antidote, what we should be looking at to help figure out the obstacle in card 1. And then card 3 is going to signify a likely outcome, a medicinal alchemical transition. Oh, she's flying out. So without further ado, let's see what we got going. If we'd like to deepen the reading, we will pull some of these diamond archetypes cards, but let's see what we're working with first. First, we have the Page of Coins. We love to see that coming into a new year, but this being your obstacle card upright might signify starting some type of journey in this physical realm and bringing the virtuous energy that is the childlike wonder, but also that it might be a hindrance. So let's keep that in mind. The next card is the Ace of Swords. Okay, so obviously swords represent our dimensions of communication, logic, speech, conflict. And to me, this indicates some true information coming your way about the Page of Coins. And also to see our Saturn glyph here, maybe the message has to do something about, graduating from, taking the positive gift sides of childlike wonder, but then kind of locking in a little bit, saying, okay, there is a hindrance to being a child when there's something to be done, right? Especially when it's the Pentacles. So let's see what the outcome would be, and we can maybe intuit a little bit better and deepen our understanding of the reading. 8 of Swords being the medicine. Okay, so we have 2 swords. We have 1 Page of Coins here. Okay, so what I'm already seeing here is that if this is your shadow side here, there is a part of you in group 1 that has been holding on to the Page of Coins energy as an identity, right? To avoid this, okay? Now, the 8 of Swords is about a fear that is kind of self-constructed, and it's a fear that you could get away from. Like, she has her face near a bunch of swords. She has an eye mask on. Maybe we don't know 100% sure whether or not she could take that mask off, but what always is indicated to me with this card is that this is a fear that one can work through themselves by distancing themselves from the sharp, jagged elements of that specific thing and just withdrawing, using a little bit of mental gumption to pull themselves away from this, right? Okay, so we are bypassing the ways in which we are being a little bit too uninitiated in an adventure, despite, an adventure or maybe starting a business, for example, whatever it is that you're starting. There is something about this. I'm just sweet. I'm just exploring the thing because, we're not really allowing ourselves to see that what needs to happen is we need to lock in. Okay, we need to lock in. But we're always afraid about locking in, okay? Everybody has that story arc, you choose. Everybody has that arc when starting something new that we have to overcome what the nervous system is telling us, that familiar place. And maybe this idea that you've been having that you've wanted to bring Earthside, you've just been getting enough dopamine or getting enough of a kick or a hit from imagining it, right? And a lot of us creatives can get really stuck in that headspace where we just feel like, the vision was enough. And dreaming is, of course, such an important part of the process of the doing. But if we just stay in Dreamlandia, we're not getting anywhere because we are corporal bodies on this 3D plane. And we came here to get some stuff done, to put some effort into things. And Saturn really wants that for you. Saturn says, let's really see what's not a delusion. And that's actually an energy that's coming up later on in the astrological forecast of February, which we'll see in a couple of weeks here. This exact message, we're taking an energy of something we've been turning over in our minds and choosing whether or not it's something worth pursuing. And if we're pursuing it, is it something full-time, part-time, a hobby? So maybe if we want to deepen our reading a little bit more, I do feel called to chunk up this Archetypes group here a little bit. And these things are notoriously a little bit hard to shuffle. So we'll I already see the card. I already see it. We'll pull one and see what more we could say about this. The Orphan. Okay, this one usually strikes people in the gut when they see it because it means what it looks like it means. This archetype of the orphan is not just about an individual not having parents or not having the archetypical energies of mother and parental figures in the psyche not fully initiated. That is a part of it. This is also a global lesson whereby we are more connected with our phones, with the internet than ever, but we're also more isolated than we've ever been, living underneath these capitalistic, patriarchalistic, structures. That causes it's just an inevitable outcome of living in an unnatural system by which there is no village. Like everybody wants to be a part of the village. No one wants to be a villager. And we're all struggling with this energy of the orphan. Now, if this card is coming up alongside all of these, there is something that we are avoiding. So maybe the message, if we are to line it up over the Ace of Swords, is that when you start something new, you have to face this energy. You have to face what it means on a collective level, and also you have to face your own sense of isolation when you're starting something new. It might be fun. This energy also represents uninitiated, unserious energy. Who do you have around you that's also maybe holding you back, distracting you? Maybe there are people in your life that you're a little bit afraid might fall away or might not mean the same to you once you actually start the thing, right? You have to create a new sense of identity when starting. For me, this really feels like an actual business endeavor for group one. And for me as well, this is my first video ever. So maybe this is a little bit of a reading that I can relate to as well. Saturn energy was exactly what I was calling in probably 3-4 months ago. I've always been a big dreamer and I'm a doer, but I'm a doer of many, many things. I'm a jack of many trades, but doing actual legacy vocational work is what's at play here. And what do you have to work through in order to get there? Because you're only here for so long, right? Now, if the orphan is representing our Ace of Swords, and we're kind of seeing a triangle here, and we see that this is representing a sense of isolation, loneliness. This is an inevitable energy of the times we are living in right now. Anybody hearing this can relate to this card to some level, but this is kind of the medicine that you need to face, you need to integrate in order to dissolve this card. If we wanted to see it in reversed, we're confronting this, right? And we're letting her sit on top. Oh, I love that. All right, so since we pulled a card that was kind of reiterating like an outcome first, like this seems like a very short-term lesson that group one is meant to learn here this week and to ponder over, is that, even if the outcome looks kind of scary, you feeling what needs to be felt on a subconscious somatic level That is part of the work, and that's part of getting through to the other side of the obstacle, right? You haven't started not because you're lazy, you haven't started not because you don't care, you haven't started because there is an energetic blockage inside of you that you have to work through, right? People have all sorts of advantages and disadvantages that are both visible to us and hidden from us. You might see somebody who's extremely tall. Think about what that indicates to somebody with what is good for them, what is easy for them seeing in far crowds, maybe they have joint problems, or somebody who's extremely short, right? Having some of those opposite things. The same thing goes for us internally. We all inherit internal, mental, psychological, spiritual energies, and not everybody's going to have the same thing going on, right? So please know that that inner work, you have to do it inwardly in order to see this happen outwardly. If you want to graduate from this sort of uninitiated energy with an endeavor, I hate to say it, but the work is always in the shadows. Now, I am working on a shadow work type of worksheet. I will have a product available in the future, so just plant that seed somewhere else. We can have a whole conversation another day about how to do shadow work in a society that doesn't have a container for what happens when you open up that Pandora's box of darkness. There are ways to handle it and ways to move through it so that we don't feel unnecessary higher amounts of suffering or discomfort than normal. But I think if we pull one more card from here, then I think what we're going to have for us is a resolution on the other side of the fear. That's what I'm calling in for this card here. All right, I see it. You've worked through the fear. What's happening then? ASMR. The womb. The womb is on the other side of that. Okay, so the womb can be another way to see God's energy. It can be, it's the mother beyond the mother. In Kim Cron's Archetypes deck, she speaks of the womb. And if you look at this too, you see that the colors are all in those like root chakra, solar plexus, sacral chakra. And I have a little cheat sheet here just for all of the cards. So I figure if we just have a quick look here. Right, yes, the womb. Contemplating the mother beyond the mother. Keeping things simple. Return and be reborn in the name of love. Well, that's always on the other side of working through fear. It's just love waiting for you. Why is it that we always sensationalize and catastrophize, when we get stuck in our ego mind? This womb card is saying that what's waiting for you when you really listen to that inner knowing, that inner calling, is a deeper sense of connection to the divine, and maybe also through the divine feminine in particular. Like, we're living in times of needing to rebirth the divine feminine. So just know that when you're working through all this energy, like Saturn might be harsh, the orphan might be a viscerally difficult card to digest. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be better off for it. So in this next week, this is something to contemplate. What can you start locking in on? We're entering, so seeing that this is a full moon, right? This is a full moon today. And we're going into a descent where it's a kind of about release. And it's not about planting new seeds quite yet. I would recommend keeping this reading in, let it play out in your mind. And let the release come first. If this is a time of release, it's not about building something yet. I would say let the emotions and the feelings come up, journal, process, therapy, whatever resources you have. Let that come up and let that be the thing that gets released going into the new moon in February. I feel like that's all I have for group 1. I hope that this was sufficient for you. And cheers to my very first reading here on YouTube. Okay, we are starting the reading for group 2, and as for all of the groups, we call in God's highest mercy and protection, all of the angels, highest timelines, archangels, and a crystalline dome over our reading to welcome in all of the highest insights that will be for your highest good this week, going into the new month of February. And throughout the energy of this month, which will be quite subtle and liminal and inward thinking, let's see what we pull for group 1. The palm tree. Where do you want to go on vacation? Where are you trying to escape to, huh? What would be a nice reprieve for you here when you think about that palm tree? Oh, okay. This is our obstacle. This is something we're confronting going into the descent of our moon cycle here in February before the new moon. This is going to be the antidote, the medicine. All right. These cards are so beautiful. They are not the easiest shuffle out of all the shuffles, but they are still one of my favorite decks. Absolutely love the general vibe from these. And of course, we will pull some archetype cards, however many we see fit, to really get the best, fullest, deepest message from this reading. And let's see. Ooh, Page of Wands reverse. You know, we just had Page of Wands upright for the first reading, and we have it in reverse for group 2. Okay, because why? 10 of Wands reversed. Okay, we got a lot of fire and potential in group 2. What's the outcome here? This is a card we just pulled for the group 1. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Girl. Now, you know what? I'm usually not so mad to see 10 of Wands in reverse. My personal take on this is that it's either a lesson that wasn't yet learned from the prior card. So if we pull this upright, maybe the 9 of Wands lesson is something that hasn't yet been fully learned if it's in reverse. And also this can show, honestly, it can either be an exaggeration of the card upright, which is just like about burnout and like moving too hard too fast, which with it being paired with the Page of Wands, it's hard for me to not anticipate that that is something that's going on here. So Page of Wands upright, all the page cards, I have a special place in my heart for the page cards, all of them, guys, because the pages are all the most virtuous, the most pure, and the most well-intentioned of cards. Even if they're uninitiated, even if they might be naive, they are still, in many ways, they far outrank kings, queens, and knights when it comes to actual true intention, right? So if we see this blocked, there is something blocking your sense of curiosity and excitement. Now, I like to see reversals as like there is this sort of magnetism, like they really, really want to be upright. But there is a message we have to get across first in order for them to be upright, okay? So upright, the Page of Wands is about, it's all about being curious and being open and wanting to explore your fiery energy. I mean, if you look at this card, look at this is a child just like running with a wand of all of its potential and upwards and inner trajectory, right? So if that's being in reverse, this is an energy that is trying to visit you upright, but you're blocking it somehow. So why is it that you are getting blocked in this wonder of oh, okay, I get it. You're being blocked because of this reversal, right? The 10 of Wands, which I'm honestly going to pull this as an exaggeration of this card upright. Action-based cards, for me, tend to indicate that there is an exaggeration of that energy already, right? Yeah, not being able to hold onto all of the, you didn't hold your horses too much, you didn't pace yourself, and now we're really seeing that this is getting in the way. And you started with an intention that was blocked, right? Maybe we would have liked to see this combination. This might have been a different read. If this was upright and this was upside down, I would have read this entirely different, but both were upside down, right? So there was an intention that wasn't really right on track with something that you've done. And then the outcome is like, it's compounded. Like you already burned out, but then on top of it, since your intention wasn't good, you're just feeling like TKO collapsed, down and out for the count, right? Facing this energy and accepting that means we're going to start somewhere else. The future being a Page of Coins. That's crazy. Now, if we were to say that what really wants to happen is that the Page of Wands wants to be upright, what these cards are saying is that you need to slow down and put something down. I mean, like, look at the burden of carrying all of this, right? And then also imagine carrying it on the ceiling. You're going to have to put something down and get back to the drawing board, okay? And what happens, the outcome is going to be a refreshed version. Like, not only are you getting a page upright, but you're kind of upgrading in a way. Like, fire and potential is going to be replaced with an upright version of being curious about actually bringing something earth side, right? So what you're dealing with, I think, is a lot of like scattered mindedness, because if this is a lot of like mind racing stuff, taking yourself too seriously, being a bit of perfectionist, a little bit of that like looped thinking, if you will. Sorry, we had this like this. These cards are bringing to attention that this is getting in your way. Like you're getting in your own way. You're too much in your mind. You're not enough in the spirit. You are wanting to go. Like, I feel like there's something externally probably money, resources, some type of something you're trying to get to. And you just sort of aren't thinking too much about your why you're doing it. You just like, I'm just going to get there. But then you get stuck in the loops and then you burn yourself out in your brain and then we're a little bit frozen. Right? So we got to get back to the drawing board. We would like to see this lesson as strictly a lesson, and these two together could be buds, right? Having the right intention with your potential leading to having the right intentions with taking action, right? So we see this as the lesson card, the medicine. You got to put something down in your mind, slow down, take a break, choose some new brain wavelengths, okay? You're probably in your beta brainwave state all the time, right? Beta brainwave is going to be just your logical mind-based thinking, which is great for certain things, but dreaming and attaining and achieving something vocationally or just achieving something that you feel like is coming to you, but you feel blocked around it, you have to get into another headspace of thinking. And if this is a lot of fire, dare I also recommend you try some candle gazing, Tritaka. If you're not super into meditating, but you want to shift the brain wavelengths to find a better solution, stare at a flame. Grab a tea light and just stare at the flame. Just stare at it. Thank me later. All right, is there anything else within our archetypes deck here? Yeah, take a vacation in your mind. Relax. Let go of something. Chill out a little, okay? Because I think if we get rid of this card here, we listen to what it had to say, put it to the side over here, okay? And we let the mind take a little break, right? She was in reverse. She's going to be upright. These two are going to be thick as thieves. And like, that's a very potent combination, especially as we go now and from the full moon into the descent phase of our cycle with the moon into the new moon here. Like, and especially as we're entering Pisces season, everything right now is about the subtleties and dreaming. And, we're also in the middle of winter, especially in the northern hemisphere. Okay. So it is, not only is it okay, but it's healthy to have your mind be thinking and planting seeds at this time, but let's make sure the intention is correct. Okay. Let's pull, I felt it. This one. The riddle. We have a riddle. So I believe this is a tool within the Kim Kron's Archetypes deck. I have my cheat sheet here, my handy dandy notebook. And let's see what the riddle says here. I've been pulling these cards for a long time, but, just never know. The riddle. The riddle. You're going to move from the literal mind to the metaphorical. Make peace with not knowing now for greater wisdom later on. Well, you know what? I don't know how these cards work sometimes, but I know that they work. I don't know how they co-create so well with us here in this physical realm, but they do be doing something. And it's like they know before we channel it, right? So take a break. Be okay with not knowing. And if you don't know what you stand for, you don't know where your virtues lie, maybe start there. Why do you feel little calls to do things? Why do you get calls to do 100 different things and you haven't really picked one? What's the source there? What's the shadow in that? That's your homework for this week. That's group 2. All right, if you chose group 3, you must be hungry for some pizza. I love making my own dough. You got to ferment your dough for pizza, for a good, authentic Napoleonsk pizza, okay? Let's see what's happening with group 3. What's your obstacle? What is your obstacle? What is the medicine? What's our outcome? Let's see what's going on for group 3. I'm feeling like that is about where we're at with our obstacle. What will help us with this obstacle today? Oh, I'm feeling like this one. Okay, and then our outcome, as we listen to the subtle forces. Okay, they're not so subtle. There's your answer. Let's have a look. Our obstacle is 4 of Wands reverse. Oh, who's getting all up in your space? Who's stealing your pizza? This is usually about celebration with people. Oh, a Knight of Wands reverse is your medicine. Girl, I'm seeing some conflict. Okay, Knight of Wands. Even upright, Knight of Wands, all the Knights for me. I have a hard time not seeing their shadow sides. We have, okay. Just let it sit, okay. Let it cook, let it cook. Let the pizza cook over the reading, okay? Outcome. The moon reversed. Oh my God, probably the juiciest reading. Okay, we have, all of these are in reverse, by the way. So let's take a look if we saw these in reverse, or saw them upright rather. Let's have a look. Where celebration and the Knight of Wands taking action on something would lead to unclear outcomes. How would we flip it and reverse it then if that's the reading? And I feel like even before we get into that, let's pull 1 or 2 archetype cards to see. Wow, exciting. Kind of powerful stuff going on here, guys. Group 3, what do you want about? What's going on with you this week? I guess we're really feeling the full moon today. The lunacy is causing some conflict and the opposite of celebration. And perhaps you're reacting with a lot of, you're reacting back and fighting back to the group, but maybe not having thought it through. That's what I'm kind of feeling. Unclear things. But I think it's to say the full moon lunacy is really getting to group 3. All right, well, all these little discs look like the moon. All right, I'm feeling like we got this one. The seed. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna pull one more, guys. One more. The poet. Okay. All right, so this feels like something was happening here along with multiple people. Things went bad. You had something to say. You had something to say. You didn't hold your tongue. And instead of using that mouth to eat some pizza, you spit some facts. The poet in reverse, if we're to say the poet energy in reverse, is about having a sharp tongue. You said what you said and you didn't care what happened when you said it. And I think that this had something to do about, well, the seed is about accepting the grit of a new journey. And this isn't just about a seed, it's also about the pearl. That you have to, if an oyster is going to make a pearl, it's sand getting inside, it's, doing the chafe and the churn and doing what it needs to do for a long period of time until the pearl is born. So it sounds like somebody was encroaching in on something special and seed-like for you. And you weren't just going to let that slide, were you? Well, the outcome is the moon in reverse. Okay, but the outcome here, despite the energies being kind of messy, this is a little messy, I'm not going to lie. The outcome is actually you stepping into your power, having psychological ease, because if this is about not knowing what's what, here, I think we're really knowing what is. We knew what the what about the what and the who's about to what. You knew, okay? Now, I'm a girly who loves direct communication. Sometimes that can be a little bit bold and brash, as they might say. And I'm a fast-speaking woman, okay? So I can relate to this reading here. And if somebody is going to be coming for something that I have been working on and something that feels very special to me, and the seed could also represent, I also feel like this could be about somebody saying something about, your children. I'm reading a little bit about you're getting protective of something that feels like your child. Well, you're saying what needs to be said. And also we got a lot of circles. We got like an orb that looks like the moon. We got the moon. And somebody said it on the full moon to you, huh? Well, if this is conflict in the workplace, expect to hear from HR. If this is between family and friends, let the dust settle. And we're going into a month now here where we are going to have a Mercury in retrograde, which makes communication not very easy. We're going to be in Pisces on top of that. So things are going to feel extra. You're going to be very in touch with the subtleties, but you might be feeling like you can't actually act on it in like a noble way, because the Knight of Wands in reverse, this can kind of burn you too. Because remember, even if we say something that's truthful and we just decide we're just tired of following the social scripts or playing nice or taking the high road, that's not reality. We don't always do that. I know I don't always do that. And sometimes you just got to give it the time that it takes for things to settle. So for the entirety of this month, let today on the full moon be your indicator that maybe this whole month we take it a little easy. We take it easy with other people's perceptions of us. We take it easy with how we react. But also know that you can take that energy if you feel this Four of Wands in reverse, this anti-celebration of something that you hold dear is really a thorn in your side. Take it to a sacred container to alchemize why it's affecting you so much. because really getting over something is having a sense of neutrality about it, not having a big, strong reaction. The reaction is the signpost towards finding an equilibrium. That's what we're going to say, you know. And maybe you just got to order yourself a nice little pizza and hang out a little bit. Thank you, beautiful stars, for tuning into today's reading, our very first initiatory reading here on Path of Spirals Tarot. Whether your message was based in Saturn, the palm tree, or the coveted sacred holy pizza, there was a little bit of something for everybody. Everybody's getting something. Tune in tomorrow for a short 4-card pull reel or shorts here on the YouTube. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays are long form. Tuesdays and Thursdays, as of now, are going to be our shorter videos in the upright format. But that way, that makes 5 videos a week. Thanks so much for being here with me. We'll see you next time.